Sahaditam Sadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sarvanalalita Shri Vishaka Vitam Shri E Krishna Karna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindaveshwari Vrishabhanu Sutade Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vayascha Paddanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Welcome to this discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, based on book of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. The book is Bhagavad Gita as it is. So today we will be majorly talking about shloka number 7, 8, and 9. So if you see in last class, I think the classes till chapter shloka number 6 are more technical. It need to be technical because there is no story, nothing in Bhagavad Gita. It is fundamental understanding of what Krishna conscious philosophy is, why devotees are engaged in work, and not leaving their home once they become Krishna conscious. So this understanding is very, very important, both for our personal understanding as well as for preaching to different people from different walks of life. So today we will focus on shloka 7, 8, 9. Now going to the shloka. Yasta indriyani manasa niyamya arabate Arjuna karmendriya karma yoga asakta sa vishishyate. On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is far superior. So now we see how activity is better than renunciation. So one thing in the previous shloka, so is Krishna is now differentiating or contrasting between engagement and renunciation. So he is now going to talk about it is far better to engage oneself positively using senses. Here, the fundamental word that we need to understand is karmendriya. Karmendriya are usually hands, legs, tongue, genitals, and anus. We engage all of them in devotional service. Anus and genitals are required based on necessity. Genitals are specifically required for Krishna conscious children, and anus to keep ourselves free from waste generated in the body. So, the most important here are the legs, hands, and the tongue. Tongue has two functions, namely the speech and the taste. Speech is karmendriya, whereas taste is jnanendriya. We'll talk about it little later. So these are the karmendriya. So karmendriya are to be engaged in Krishna conscious activity. Even for the yogis who practice passive meditation, they will have the jnanendriyas. So what are the jnanendriyas? Jnanendriyas are like eyes, nose, tongue. Tongue has two functions, that is taste and speech. So speech is a karmendriya activity. Taste is a jnanendriya, touch and ears. So when we say that indriyas are all controlled or kept away from activity, it is not going to happen in case of jnanis because they still will have the jnanendriyas active. So so reduction in activity in jnanendriya or karmendriya is not the key here. This is because jnanendriyas, when they come in contact with the sense objects, they trigger emotions, and this results in further thinking, planning, and actions. So, when we are engaging our karmendriyas in activity, then we do not have much work for Jnanendriyas. So there is no much for thinking. We use Jnanendriyas only to see whether we are doing it correct or not. When we smell that the rice has boiled enough, we switch off. So it is only like a sensor which helps us to complete the action. Whereas in case of jnanis who are not using the karmendriyas, jnanendriyas act as a trigger for digging out memories, emotions, and hence results in further thinking, planning, and action. Thus, these engagements of karmendriya happens in a specific way based on how the jnanendriya is triggered. Say, for example, seeing a beautiful object may bring some contamination, but when I think, I plan, or act on it, or act on the contamination, then it becomes much more contaminated, or the contamination becomes much more deeper, and we get caught in illusion. This means what? If I'm not using Jnanendriya as an independent object, but works along with Karmendriya to complete a Krishna conscious activity, then the Jnanendriyas are guided. Otherwise, when Jnanendriyas are let loose, they can become they can contaminate the entire psyche or our mind and also our senses, and we will get deviated from our work. So when I come in contact with a non-vegetarian food which smells, say, good or well known, it pulls our jnanendriya. Our nose gets attracted. This reaction of jnanendriya could lead to the movement of hands, legs, tongue, and so on. So tongue will be discussing with the seller of the food, and then we eat the food. This food, when not offered to Krishna, binds us in karma. So the main emphasis here is the use of karmendriya. This is owing to the reason that when we act with karmendriya in response to external stimuli, that then bondage starts. But when we regulate the karmendriya by putting them into action and regulating them, then it is karma yoga. So same smell I use to cook food for Krishna and use that as an indicator to ensure that things are coming to a conclusion or to go for a specific when I hear the ringing bell of the or the cooker sound, I switch off the fire. So this is better engagement of Jnanendriya. So how to practice karma yoga without adequate level of detachment? This is something which we need to understand. So people run away from sense object. So they think that sense object is binding. Therefore, we should run away from sense object so that we do not fall down when when the sense organs are triggered. So this is like protecting ourselves from Maya and hence stay aloof. Saying in contact with sense object, people think that they may fall prey to Maya. So they avoid sense object altogether. This is this is true to some extent. Out of sight means out of mind. But there are things which are deeply rooted in our in our heart, that even when we are out of sight condition, out of mind doesn't happen, but this may result in prominent this may result in prominent lodging into our mind. So we miss some things tremendously when it is out of sight. So detachment is to be there, but this comes from knowledge which is jnana. So detachment cannot come by moving away from sense object. Detachment will come only when we have proper knowledge. This mm, because without proper knowledge or jnana, we cannot practice devotional service properly. Hence, in our sadhana, we have a combination of some specific tasks and then reading Prabhupada's books. This jnana refers to philosophical understanding. So when we read Prabhupada's books, we have a proper understanding of Krishna conscious philosophy. This philosophical understanding helps us to practice devotional service steadily. This results in gradual, steady spiritual advancement. For example, now why we have to get up early in the morning? Getting up early in the morning puts us in Sattva Guna. Why we have to put in Sattva Guna? Sattva Guna helps us to gain more knowledge. It helps us in detachment. So getting up early in the morning is good for us. Then why we are chanting holy name? We are chanting holy name because mind is always agitated. Why it is always agitated? It is looking for sense object. But when we satisfy senses of Krishna by hearing and chanting his names, our mind becomes peaceful. So like this, we hear or when we read this in Prabhupada's book, then we are very well informed. So this is this results in steady spiritual advancement. As devotees practicing Krishna conscious steadily, we do not indulge in sense gratification or allow our senses to roam around in search of sense objects. Our main focus is that when we go out for book distribution, our main focus is to distribute books. So our idea is not to indulge our senses or go in search of sense object. We remain focused on completion of the work. However, the regulated engagement, so this regulated engagement helps us to progress in devotionalized study. One can reject eating as a part of renouncing. This is not practical. On the other hand, so jnanis or jnana yogis, they usually renounce food because they want to disengage the tongue from sense object. This is not practical in current scenario. We eat sumptuously the food after offering it to the Lord. So we eat Krishna Prasad. By doing this, we understand that when the food is offered to Krishna, it is purified. And when I eat it, I also remain purified. So if you see the first line of the purport, instead of becoming pseudo transcendentalist for the sake of wanton living and sense enjoyment, it is far better to remain in one's own business and execute the purpose of life, which is to get free from material bondage and enter into kingdom of God. So we need not have to sacrifice our food. Sacrifice the food which is give up the food. I don't say sacrifice. Give up the food which is dragging us down to hell and the put focus on the food which is helping us move towards Krishna. And then Krishna will become happy and we go back to God. If you see the last line of purport, a sincere sweeper in the street is far better than Charlton meditator who meditates only for sake of making a living. So this is a quote from Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, which Srila Prabhupada is highlighting here. So in a place where there is a culture of piety, respect for cultural piety and spirituality, there if someone wears saffron robes, somebody does meditation or is in renounced order, doing chanting, the person automatically gets respect. In India, if you go to any dham, if you do this, you get respect. He gets donations as well. The person also gets donation. Many people adopt this garb of saffron garb, or garb of renunciation, just to get all these things. All these things means man, no, this money, women, and so on. So these are false. These are all Charlton meditator. So renunciation thus should not be adopted to avoid responsibility. This is not an escape from hard work life of material world. If that is the objective, when then we are cheating ourselves. Leave alone cheating others. We are cheating ourselves, and then, of course, we are cheating others. The purpose of renunciation is to get better focus on Krishna. But people just wear saffron robes to make cheap, effortless living, which is not good. These type of people have ruined spiritual culture in India. When they ruin this, not only in India, also many people wearing saffron robes travel to United States, Europe, before Prabhupada went, and they only ruined things. When they ruin this, and when they when they are found guilty of cheating people, and it becomes people, public, then everybody rejects them, and they think that the renounced order of life is a cheap showcase to get money and enjoy the material world. So they reject the renounced order of life. There should be a there should be better understanding. No, we as a devotee should have a better understanding on the renounced order of life, and those who are renounced order of life, and also the people who are undergoing the renounced order of life, they also need to have a proper understanding. The person who accepts the renounced order of life should respect the dress. He should understand that the dress represents the renunciation, devotion, and dedication to Krishna. One has to live in a way that honors this risk. So he is giving up few things in his life for fully engaging in the service. And this is a risk because he is always going to be surrounded by sense object. And that is why he is getting honor. So he needs to understand this. One has to take this as a responsibility. We are taking this responsibility, or the sannyasi takes the responsibility to serve Krishna more without a distraction. So he should not be a charlatan meditator who meditates only for. So he has adapted it to serve Krishna more without much distraction. On the other hand, when we see somebody in a saffron dress, we need to understand if his behavior is also in line with the, the standard of renounced order. If not, if his behavior is not in line with renounced order of life, we should reject it. Srila Chakravarti Thakur says that if a person is wearing devotional dress, live, not even saffron dress, just a devotional dress, if his behavior is not with higher standards, we can respect him from the distance, but we cannot associate with him. So if we see a person who is wearing saffron garb and not following the standard, we can just respect him, but we cannot associate with him. This the same applies also to the also to the devotees who are wearing kantimala and tilak and shika, but they are not following the right standards. Then we cannot associate. We may probably respect. So this is very important for us to understand. If there is no proper understanding of how renunciation is to be applied in Krishna conscious life, and what this renunciation is all about, what is the standard behavior expected from this renounced order of love, and how it is to be practiced in current circumstances, how people will be recognized by in the current circumstances. Now, this is very important. Otherwise, we will result in unnecessary, unfortunate perpetuation or multiplication of pseudo renunciants. So this is completely rejected by Srila Prabhupada. So if you see, go to any dhams in India, so dhams are usually the places where there is devotion as well as deviation. If we go to dhams with devotees, we advance in our devotion. In dhams, there are people who come to give donation to do seva in the dham. So some people adopt devotional garb to attract easy donation from pilgrims who come there. So we have to be very cautious from our side that we do not fall prey to them. People come to renounce order of life also for other purposes. Srila Prabhupada has provided the right philosophical understanding. We understand the renounced order of life properly. Srila Prabhupada also instituted strong system and standard for renounced order of life within ISKCON. This ensures that the people who are not serious about renounced order of life do not come to the renounced order of life. They will say it is too strict, let's forget it. That means only the people who are very serious will take to renounce order of life. They will think following regulative principles, getting up early in the morning, chanting 16 rounds, doing Mangalarti, eating only prasadam. Uh, if they do this to dedicate their life for Krishna, then it is very good renounce order of life. But if they do that to get some donation, uh, uh, because people give too much donation to them, then they will remain for some time, but then they will leave the movement. Srila Prabhupada's system are like safeguards that within a Krishna conscious movement, there are no pseudo renunciation. So we need to always understand that more the rules and regulations in Krishna conscious life are our guardians. They are safeguards. But there should be, so there should be good association available with us so that when we tend to deviate, we come back again to our normal course and follow our sadhana. Okay, so this renounced order of life is prevalent also in Madhva Sampradaya and also Sri Sampradaya. As a devotee, we should be careful. Overall, our focus is not on renouncing. Our focus is on connecting with Krishna. As a devotee, our focus is to use our talents for Krishna. And how do we use our talent? Karmendriya Karma Yoga Asakta Sa Vishishyate. Use the talent, senses for actions which are satisfying Krishna. When devotees were building temples in 1960s and 1970s, the land dealing were all becoming very, very complicated. And they were a cause of severe anxiety. So some of the devotees were not from India, like Tamal Krishna Maharaj was not from India and he has to stay there constructing temples. So he came to Srila Prabhupada. He told Srila Prabhupada that because of this anxiety in constructing temples, he is not able to chant Hare Krishna. It is disturbing his chanting. That is what he told Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada in reply said that it is distributing his chanting as well. This surprised Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. So Srila Prabhupada continued that your anxiety to serve Krishna will take you back to Krishna. So as a devotee, we try to develop spiritual relationship with Krishna. This comes with taking up specific responsibility. So when we take responsibility to spread Krishna's mission, spread Krishna's mission, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants this mission to spread to every nook and corner of the world. When we take up this responsibility to spread this mission for Krishna, this is taking anxiety for Krishna. By accepting this anxiety, we are expressing our affection for Krishna, our devotion for Krishna. So that means what? When we get up early in the morning, there is a lot of anxiety because we have to come out of sleep and then take bath in cold water and then put tilak, put nice garments. Everything should be ready and you should be there before the curtain opens so that we can have darshan of Krishna. It should look that you were waiting for Krishna to give darshan rather than it should not be like Krishna is already no is giving darshan and we are coming late. That is not uh, uh, that is not the way we treat our beloved ones. We always are eager to receive our beloved ones. This is a great source of anxiety. Okay, so but this accepting this anxiety, we are expressing our affection for Krishna and our devotion for Krishna. So this is, this um, this type of affection or this type of anxiety results in spiritual advancement. So here we need to accept anxiety, which is manageable for us. So if we are not a good cook, we should not accept anxiety for cooking. So when we realize that the anxiety is beyond our capacity or capability, we should express that to authority and optimize our anxiety. In general, we should not be running away from anxiety in time of practicing spirituality. By taking up anxiety for Krishna, we make steady spiritual advancement. So in the purport, if you see, Srila Prabhupada is comparing Charlton, so this sincere speaker and Charlton. This is to indicate that the externals do not matter. In Varnashrama, speaker may be a Shudra, but if he is doing his activity responsibly, then he will make spiritual advancement. Externals are useful to the extent that they aid the internals. So if internals are very strong, irrespective of the external, the person will make spiritual advancement. So it is very important that we engage our karmendriya for service of Krishna. So we engage in devotional service of Krishna. That is the key takeaway. Let us go to 3.08. नियतं कुरु कर्मत्वं कर्म ज्यायो हि अकर्मणः शरीरं यत्रापि च ते न प्रसिद्धेत अकर्मणः. Perform your prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. Shariram yatrapi chate. So in this shloka, Krishna is giving one more reason why Arjuna is to do the duty. So one has to do duty for Sharira Yatrapi, maintenance of body. So till now, Krishna has given three reasons to Arjuna. First, to avoid renunciation. Renunciation is unnatural. It does not lead to purification. It would not lead to advancement. This is what we see in uh, text number 4, 3.4. Then, if you see text number 6, if we are not practicing and actively engaging our karmendriyas, it would disrupt the social order. People would become hypocrite. They would not benefit oneself, nor it will be this type of false renunciation or hypocrisy will not benefit oneself, nor it will benefit others. So that is what we see. Hypocrite, pretender. Being pretender is of no use. So when we say once one is renouncing falsely, it will not result in self spiritual advancement. So there is no benefit for the follower and the person who is pretending. So there is no benefit in misleading and misrepresenting. So that is the second important reason. The third reason is he is giving in Shoka number 8, which is we need to do maintain our physical body. So first one is purification. Actions results in purification. Actions will ensure we set right example, no hypocrisy. Third one is it is required to maintain our body. So, so Krishna is telling that we need to perform the duty. Now, what does Krishna mean by maintaining the body? So, in a Varnashrama setup, the Varna is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. So, this is for Varna is for maintaining the body, and Ashrama, which is um, uh, Brahmachari, um, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. This is for maintenance of the soul. So with Varna, one is able to contribute to the society based on one's psychophysical nature, and thereby he can earn his livelihood. The prescribed duty of a person is called as Swadharma. It has two aspects, that is material dharma and the spiritual dharma. By material dharma, one earns his livelihood. In case of Arjuna, he is a Kshatriya. His Swadharma is ruling. By this, he earns his livelihood. So, Kshatriyas do not get salary. Kshatriyas usually collect taxes. So, same ways, all other Varna execute the Swadharma. So, in today's society, what is Swadharma? We do not have Varnashrama system. So, what is prescribed duty? So, prescribed duty may be different for different people. For example, we have businessmen, salaried people, students, housewives, and so on. These are the worldly duties. So we need to do our worldly duties. By this, we will be able to maintain ourselves. For example, if there is a family and there is a husband, wife, they have children. So husband has to provide all facility for the children and the wife to lead a Krishna conscious life. So that is his duty. Wife has to take care of the children. So the children are growing up in the Krishna conscious environment. And father has the duty to demonstrate by living to the children how to be Krishna conscious. So this is Krishna conscious. So this is a setup in today's modern life. And here the center of all this is Krishna. So that one we need to understand. Otherwise, if Krishna is not there, then it becomes a karmic life. So by this, we are able to maintain ourselves for bodily maintenance, personal maintenance, or personal purification, and for sake of setting a good example. So when people see a Krishna conscious family is able to lead a peaceful life, then they set a very good example. We need to act, so it is important that we need to act according to the prescribed duty. Thus, Krishna instructs Arjuna not to give up the prescribed duty, but to do his prescribed duties. By this, Arjuna will be able to make spiritual advancement. Arjuna may now think, my original question was bondage. According to Arjuna, activity results in bondage, and inactivity means no active action, hence no bondage. So Krishna has not answered that till now. So Arjuna is very eager to understand it. So you can see here, anyone who is in this material world is certainly possessed of the impure propensity for lording it over material nature, or in other words, for sense gratification. Such polluted propensities have to be cleared. Without doing so, through prescribed duties, one should never attempt to become the so-called transcendentalist, renouncing work and living at cost of others. That means our sadhana, which includes getting up early in the morning, attending Mangalarti, chanting 16 rounds, and doing specific work in a temple or in a center, and then following four regulative principles. These are all purification and reading Srila Prabhupada's books at least for 1 hour. When we do this, then there is a purification of heart happening. So it is very, very important that we do this. Going to shloka number 3.9, Yagnartha karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Yagnartha anyatra, anything that is for yagna, yagnartha karma, anyatra karma will result in karma bandhana. So tadartha means yagnartha, do it for karma. So tadartha means for sake of yagna, karma kauntaya. What happens? You are relieved from bondage. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage. So this is a very, very interesting shloka. So here, what is it telling? Bondage can be overcome only by action. So this is the first shloka in Bhagavad Gita, which is indicating the concept of yagna or sacrifice. So yagna will come again in this chapter and also many times in the other chapters also. So in Sanskrit, we need to understand that every word has two connotations. One is a form and another one is principle. For example, when you take yoga, a particular sitting posture is a form. But yoga in principle means connecting, connecting the soul with the super soul. So that is yoga. So this is, so in case of yagna, what is the form? So yagna as a form as well as principle. So yagna as a form is, we have seen a part of yagna where there is a rangoli around the yagna kund. And then in the yagna kund we put sticks, um, which are special type of sticks, and then we pour ghee, grains, we add fire to it, and then chant mantra. So this is a form. The fire burning in Yagna Kunda is a form. So and we put ahuti, that is we give grains, ghee, and we put in the fire, Yagna fire. And when we put that in the fire, we say that the Yagna is performed. So this is form form of Yagna. The principle is sacrifice. So how do we understand putting of so much ghee and putting of so much grains into the fire? So there are multiple levels of understanding. The first level of understanding is that um, in Rig Veda there is a shloka which tells the bottommost deva is Agni and topmost deva is Vishnu. So this shloka we need to understand carefully. Now here, when we say Deva, the Vedas are generally a sacrifice book. It talks about multiple things. So whether the shloka is can be interpreted in devotional way or it can be interpreted in karma kanda way, that is not the focus. The focus is that the devatas are organized between Agni and Agni and Supreme Lord Vishnu. Supreme Lord Vishnu is at the transcendental position, which is at the top. Agni is the bottommost. So when we say bottommost at the level, it means he is easily accessible. He is easily accessible in a form which is realized by people. So when yagna is performed, the yagna becomes the mouth of Vishnu. Yagna becomes mouth of Vishnu. And Agni acts as the medium. Agni acts as a medium to convey all all the sacrifice to different devtas. So it is offered to Vishnu, and the share is given to all the devas. So how does this happen? This is a complex, subtle science of universal management or universal government. So that is how it happens. How the sacrifice benefit is shared by them is something very subtle and it is beyond scope right now. Maybe we will discuss it in subsequent sloka. But to understand that, we can always look at the credit card analogy. When we are traveling, when anyone from India travels abroad, he gets a card where he charges it for some amount, and whichever country he travels, he can withdraw the currency of that country. So when he gives this money to the bank, he gets a credit card. A person who does not understand the basis of credit card or the financial institution and so on, he will think that whatever money we gave it has just disappeared. But a person with a sound knowledge who understands this banking and financial institutions function can understand how the money has become a card, or how money has taken the form of card. So, so now when we offer ghee and food grains into Agni Kunda or the Yagna Kunda, it is not waste. It is consumed by Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so this is Krishna taking the form of fire and uh, trying to try to enjoy the food which is offered to him, or the grains and the ghee which is offered. Something like grain and ghee is something which we could have enjoyed, but instead of that, we offer it to Krishna. So we sacrifice our enjoyment for Krishna's enjoyment. So this is principle of yagna, or principle in which we satisfy Yagnapati. And when we do this satisfaction, we are there are many subtle changes happens. So just like the money is getting disappeared and is available in the form of credit card, wherever we go, we can withdraw the money from the card. Same way, when we are giving the sacrifices to different devtas, then we get karma benefit, pious credits. So this pious credits helps us to elevate further in the karma ladder. And but when it is offered to Krishna, then it is clearing us from the bondage of repeated birth and death. So Krishna overall is talking about principle of yagna, not the form of yagna. So this is what we need to understand. So Krishna is telling here, if you do your work as a sacrifice, you will not be subjected to bondage. So if I'm working, engaging Krishna conscious activity, I will not be subjected to bondage. The activity I could have done, I could have sold books for my personal gain, but I sell it for Srila Prabhupada for expanding Krishna conscious movement. So this is a sacrifice. So if you see the verse, the Vedas enjoy Yagno vai Vishnu. In other words, the same purpose is served whether one performs prescribed yagnas or directly serves Lord Vishnu. Krishna consciousness is therefore performance of yagna as it is prescribed in this verse. The Varnashrama institution also aims at satisfying Lord Vishnu. Varnashrama charavata purushena parapuma Vishnu aradyate. So, since one has to work even for simple maintenance of the body, the prescribed duties for particular social position and quality are so made that purpose can be fulfilled. So, yagna means Lord. So, we have to perform Krishna all activities for Krishna. By doing this, we will be able to free ourselves from the bondage. So, if you see this entire thing, entire thing. Krishna is concluding the section that the best way to overcome bondage and to maintain our body and to prevent any hypocrisy and for our purification, we need to do duty, and that is prescribed duty. So that is what is discussed in last, these 9 verses. Okay, I stop here. I will now open up for questions. Any questions?
Dandavat pranam, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. One thing that I was wondering about as you were speaking on when we see that there are devotees who are uh, not very steady or not following the prescriptions, or the same obviously holds true to the common people that we should not associate. This is a very clear instruction given in so many places. But then again, as the aim is to propagate this movement, doesn't it mean that we have to associate with persons who are not on the desired standard? So how to reconcile this that on one hand we
Yeah.
should not associate, but we have to associate if we are to spread the movement?
So we need to understand who is the buyer, who is the seller. So if we are beller, if we are the seller, we should sell to the people who are neophytes, and who should be brought in to the movement and then introduce them to the higher devotees. So nobody thinks that I am a great devotee. No. So what we do, we introduce them to the Krishna conscious system. So that is one thing. So our idea is that there are people fallen in this material world. The entire reason that they are in material world is that they are fallen. So we need to bring them to Krishna conscious group. So we introduce them to devotees who can further give them advice. So there we are selling Krishna conscious so that they come into the fold of the association, Krishna conscious association. That is first. So there we are selling. Second, we have to buy. When we buy, we will look for quality. If we want gold, we will go to the right person who is expert in selling gold. So our purpose is to buy gold, and hence we want to have best quality gold. So we always go to the person who gives best, uh, not I don't say advice, best philosophical understanding, best ways to improve our sadhana, best ways to adapt to the problems in life, how to understand if we are in a dilemma in our particular life. For example, we are not able to get up early in the morning, attend Mangalarti, what we should do, how how we should be regulating our life so that attending Mangalarti becomes easier. So dadati pratigranati gogyam akyati prachati bhungte bojayate neva sadvidi preeti lakshana. So we give donation and we take prasad. Dadati pratigrahanati. Gugyam, we ask for advice. Akyati prichati. We open our mind and ask for advice. Bhungte bojete. So sometimes we give prasadam, sometimes we take prasadam. So like that, we select the people. So it is very important that we observe the devotees from whom we can take proper inspiration or proper uh, advice is little bit off. I don't really like to use it. We can say advice, but it is our transformation, the changes that we need to bring in our life. Advice is not where it needs to be converted into action. Once you get an instruction, so it can be an instruction. We ask for instruction from other devotees and bring it in our life. So that is how we so long back, one of the devotees told me that when you chant, you should not chant 1 round, 2 rounds, or 3 rounds. In a day, you must chant at least 4 rounds in one single set. And if you are chanting, you should chant minimum 2 rounds. Then you can improve the quality of chanting. This is it brings discipline. So uh, you will be chanting at least 12 minutes, 12 to 13 minutes continuously, and you will block time in your life in a day for chanting 4 rounds. So no sporadic chanting. And to block, it means sizable 25 minutes you need to block your time. So then it brings discipline. Krishna also appreciate, okay, this guy is interested, he's blocking his time for me. Yagnartha karmana anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. So he is spending his time for me instead of something else. So that was very good. Uh, so it has helped, to block whether I'm chanting good or not, but time is blocked for chanting. So when it becomes full time chanting, then I become full time devotee. So so time blocking has happened, and it's nice. So we need to talk to that people, and that instruction should change our life. That is very important.
Thank you. That was a very satisfying, conclusive answer. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. But still, I wonder. Well, obviously, this one goes way beyond my league, my scope. But still, for what it's worth, I would just be curious in hearing your take. What is the hope for a deviant who is dressed in saffron cloth? Not to say that we
Prabhu,
could do, but is there any hope for such a person?
there is and this Krishna conscious api cheta sudrachala bhajate mam ananya bhav sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavasito visa. We are in this material world because we are chronic misdoers. So if we have taken shelter of Krishna, Krishna will definitely take us back. That attitude we should always think. And if there is a fall down, uh, then we should pray to Krishna and stick to the process. We should believe in the process. That is very important. And our attitude is that uh, Krishna consciousness is very transformative. It will transform even the worst of the person in the world. So I should stick to the process, but it should not be repeatable. So we say no, instead maintaining material attachments even after understanding so many instructions of this. It is also an offense. But how will you overcome the offense? By chanting Hare Krishna with offense, and then slowly you come out of offense, and then you chanting becomes pure. So we should stick to the process of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That will purify us. We should be in good devotee association. Do not do not engage your jnanendriyas in too many things. Actually, if you read Brahmacharya and Krishna Consciousness book, Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj says, or at least in one of the points that he is mentioning is that curiosity is something which we should avoid. If there is a noise coming, a dog or a cat will be agile enough to react for it. The brahmachari or a serious Krishna conscious devotee is not curious about it. So that is a clear jnanendriya action. So we will focus on our work. So if we are chanting and if there is a sound, we are not curious about it at all. So that is a karmendriya work. Jnanendriya, yes, if it is a noise of a cooker, if it is a arti, then we correct our action for it. Otherwise, sense organs are just kept always in parking. So, if we are seriously following this, then there is no way we will fall down from. So, association is very very important for us, and proper sadhana is very very important. This will protect us. Actually, I was listening to Vishnu Sahasranama. In that one particular name is Sarvagata. Sarvagata Sarvasthanu. Sarvagata means Lord Krishna is everywhere. So even if we are alone, by chanting Hare Krishna, we get Krishna's association. So it's also once again from the lecture of His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj on this. So we have to have that inclination, attitude. Then there is no way we can deviate. It's not possible. So it's Krishna consciousness is very very nice, sublime. You need to practice it. So yeah, this is my point. Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Any other points? Okay, if there is no point, then we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuvaya पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय ग्रंथ राज प्रभु की जय जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय गौर प्रेम हरि हरि हरे हरे कृष्णा
Thank you very much for your precious time, Prabhuji.
हरे
Hare
कृष्णा
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
हरे कृष्णा माता जी थैंक यू माता जी
After a long time, I joined, Prabhu. Sorry.
थैंक्स माता जी नो प्रॉब्लम माता जी
Yeah,
हरे
Prabhu.
कृष्णा
Videos there, no? YouTube, I'll check in that, Prabhu.